Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda, and today we are going to talk about the CrossFit Open. It is now over, and now it's been about a week-ish, a week since the last workout has been announced, less than a week since it actually finished. But I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about some of the hits and misses, in my opinion, with the CrossFit Open. So I will start by saying the CrossFit Open as a concept, I love it. My favorite time of the year, one of my favorite times of the year, I guess. And I think it's a fantastic way to get the community involved. It's really cool to do the same workouts as these elite athletes. And I think it's just great for gyms. I really enjoy it. This was my 10th CrossFit Open. It has essentially been the longest relationship I've had in my life, one of the longest things I've done in my life. I guess right now school, I was in school longer, but aside from that, this is one of the things I have done most consistently throughout my entire life. So I think that is awesome. I plan to do it forever. So that is my favorite part of the CrossFit Open, the consistency it provides, the consistent challenge it provides, and that is a hit of the Open every single year. I will say, I think this list has slightly more misses than hits, wins than losses. So, but overall, I think the Open's a huge win or hit. I think it's a fantastic thing that the CrossFit community does. So overall, the Open, it's a win, but not every aspect of it. So let me get into my list. We'll start with some of the wins, some of the things I think went right this year, and then we'll get into those losses. So a win, and this one could be debated either way, but I think the programming was a win. The goal was to keep the programming as accessible as possible, and I think that's what we saw. Most people could at least start all of these workouts. Most people can do a thruster with the weight that was provided in 24.3, so even if you couldn't do a chest to bar, you could do those 10 thrusters, and then you can try to get your first chest to bar. For the other workouts, the dumbbell was light enough that I think most people can move it. How fast and efficiently you can move it, that's a question, but most people could likely move that load if they took the time to set up and do it. And burpees, obviously we can do burpees. 24.2 started with rowing. The barbell was pretty light on that workout comparatively for a deadlift. I think this Open was very accessible. I think the programming accomplished the things that the people in leadership at CrossFit seem to want to accomplish with it. Do I think it would be the best test to qualify someone for semifinals? I do not. But that wasn't the objective of the test. The objective of the test is to get people to quarterfinals, and I think the tests would have resulted in the right people getting to quarterfinals. Not necessarily if we're gonna take the top 40, putting them into semifinals, but that's not the goal. We have to remember that's not the goal. There is a bigger picture. This is a small sliver of the whole picture of the season, and all we have right now is this piece. And leadership said they wanted it to be accessible. They wanted it to be easily done by most people. And I feel like it was, and I feel like if we didn't have the scaled workouts, when I first started CrossFit, my first Open was the first Open they had a scaled division. But when I had first started CrossFit, we didn't know there was going to be a scaled division. So in my head, I thought there were RX workouts that we all had to try to do. And I think that if they were still going about it that way, that there was only one workout prescribed, no scaled or foundations, these workouts would have also been decent for that, because I think most people could have started them even if they had to go super slow on that dumbbell snatch or the thruster. I think a lot of people could have made it a goal to try these workouts RX, and I think that is a really good frame to look at accessibility, and I think these workouts accomplish that. Next win, Dave Castro back. I was super excited to see him at the Open announcement I went to and to see his little show that he puts on. It is an iconic part of CrossFit if you've been in this space for a long time. Watching Dave Castro do an Open announcement, it was an honor for me to get to be at an Open announcement done by Dave Castro. Really happy to see him back, really happy to see him part of this Open community again and having a heavy hand in the programming for the Open and the rest of the season beyond. Another win, open participation. While it wasn't the highest we've ever seen, it is almost a 6.5% increase over what we saw last year. I believe there were 344,000 participants. That is incredible when you think about it. What the CrossFit Open does, how it brings all these people across the world together doing the same workout, it is so unique. It is one of the largest participatory sports. I think it's awesome to see the games, the Open, bring in more people again. So that for me is a win. I know it's not the most people we've ever seen at the Open, but we're rebuilding, and I know it's an improvement. It is quite literally more than a 6% improvement over last year. So that's a win. Excited about that, and excited to hopefully see a little bit of improvement on that next year too. If you didn't sign up for next year, and you can help with that. While we're finishing up the wins, I think this is a great place to remind people that if you want CrossFit content all year round, see some of my training, what I'm doing, I did qualify for quarterfinals, so to see some of those workouts, I will have those on here. Make sure you subscribe. I will also hopefully be going to more CrossFit events. There's a lot of things that'll be happening in this space, and it really helps me out if you subscribe, because it helps grow the channel, it helps more people see the videos, and it just helps me grow. So if you want to subscribe, do that now. Now let's get into the losses. And one loss is kind of related to what I just was talking about, the quarterfinals and increasing the percentage. I understand why CrossFit did this, moving it from 10% to 25%. Part of it could very well be a money grab. Part of it could be that quarterfinals, it could be looked at the quarter part of it as getting to that quarter of the season, but it could also be looked at as top 25%, top quarter of participants. So from those perspectives, it makes sense to increase it to top 25%. But I think there's a lot of people who were on the bubble last year, and a big thing for them was making quarterfinals, making that top 10%. And while a lot of people still had that goal and still worked towards that goal and still wanted to get top 10%, even though they could qualify for quarters or top 25%, it kind of waters down the accomplishment a little bit. This year, if it was top 10%, I would have redone probably all of the workouts. And I only redid the last one, and I only redid that because I felt guilty for starting in the wrong place. I did get 5 reps better and started in the correct place, so it did kind of work out for me, but I wouldn't have redone that if I didn't happen to have made that mistake. And redoing that put me exactly actually at the 90th percentile, so I just made the old cut line. But if it was the old cut line, I would have redone all 3 and likely would have been higher above that cut line. I just knew that this year my fitness was not in the same place it was last year, and I wasn't trying to fake it, so I was just going to accept a little bit of a slide down the leaderboard. It wasn't as significant of a slide as I thought it was going to be, but if it was top 10%, I would have approached it differently, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that would have as well. And there are a lot of people who are working for that top 10% to accomplish that goal over the last couple of years that we've had this. And I don't think it feels as good for those people that it now is 25%. I'm sure CrossFit really expanding it that much by an additional 15% will get some more signups than they did last year. Just, it's a numbers game there. That's what's going to happen. So they're going to accomplish their goal of likely bringing in more money to help support CrossFit and support the CrossFit Games, which I am all for. But I just don't love this way of doing it because I just feel like it sort of watered down the accomplishment. Another miss or loss of the Open was some of these announcements. The Seth Rollins one, I didn't love it. I didn't even know who he was.
Welcome to 24-Point Rollins. I am the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins.
I sort of understand the reason bringing in these characters from other spaces. It could bring in people who are maybe WWE fans who see Seth doing this announcement and be like, oh, he does CrossFit? Maybe I want to do CrossFit. So I understand the thought process behind it. I just didn't care for it. It felt like a show that wasn't the show that we do, and it just felt foreign and goofy. And I know Dave Castro puts on a little show, but it's not like the WWE show. It felt out of place, not my thing. But if it brings in more people to do CrossFit, I'm cool with it. I just was kind of like, get to the point, dude. I just want to know the announcement. I just want to know the workout. Another loss, and this one is probably on my list because it actually hit me hard, was that the games leadership announced that there wasn't going to be any floor plans, that we weren't going to have to worry about that stuff. And then for 24.3, they put out a floor plan. They had rules about that. I understand having rules. I am totally fine with us always having floor plans. I do know it makes it hard on gyms, but I am fine with that. I don't love when you come out and say things like, we're not gonna have those kind of stringent rules this year. We wanna make it more accessible. And then you're like, but actually we're gonna have some rules. We even saw it with 24.1 where you're supposed to face away from the dumbbell, which was so minor, so I didn't really care about it then. But the athletes in the announcement did it wrong. And then other people were doing it wrong because they saw what those athletes did. Come 24.3, they had more rules. They had lines that had to be put out. Have your barbell 5 feet from your pull-up bar, which it probably would have been for most people anyway, but you got to put a line out now. And there was a rule of standing under your pull-up bar. I messed that up and had to redo the whole workout. Didn't have to, decided to, because I just think that's the best thing to do and that's the fairest thing to do. So I decided to do that. I get why other people would just take a penalty. I did improve too, so it all worked out. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who didn't start standing under their pull-up bar, which is why I thought it also made sense just to get rid of these kind of things and then implement them in quarterfinals where they matter more. So I think that was a miss. And my final miss of the 2024 Open was this whole golden barbell thing. I think it was a miss from every perspective. From the athletes, the elite athletes that were doing it. I mean, one of the announcements had 2 people, you know, 50% chance of winning. The other announcements had 4, but still, like, it didn't really matter. And I think Alexis Raptis said that the bar wasn't that cool, or Dave told her that.
He's like, I'm getting that golden barbell. And Dave was like, the barbell's not even that cool.
Oh, dang.
Oh, shit. Throwing shit.
I said the same thing. I was like, it's not gold.
No, he was like, it's brown.
It's copper. and then the ends weren't gold.
And it wasn't really that cool. It was also a women's bar, and it was mostly men who won it. At least week 1, it was a women's bar when I was there for it. It just felt unnecessary. Felt like a way to just promote rogue equipment. And then we had the golden barbell for the community, which I thought was a fun idea, a cute idea to get the community involved in that. But the community members didn't get barbells. They just got a gift card to Rogue, so couldn't even get a golden barbell if you wanted one, if you won that competition. That just felt misleading, and it felt goofy with the athletes. I do like it better as a concept when you're nominating people and one person out of so many people ends up winning this. I think it's a cooler concept in general, and I liked it in theory. I just don't like that they're not getting the barbell. It's called golden barbell. You would think they're getting a barbell. I just feel like it's odd to call a competition something and then not provide the thing. That's my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think were your wins and losses or hits and misses of the 2024 CrossFit Open. These are probably just a few of them, but there's my thoughts a couple days removed from it. Lots more CrossFit content to come, lots more CrossFit news, lots more CrossFit training, lots more Carson content. He is not really CrossFit related, but if you didn't know, Carson is named after where the CrossFit Games were hosted back when they were at the StubHub Center years ago. That's where you got your name. So your name is CrossFit related, but he's not CrossFit related, but he'll be in more of the content. So if you like dogs, subscribe for that too, along with all the CrossFit content. I appreciate you all for watching. Like this video if you had a good time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.